Alexander, and today we are making crescent moon chili with homemade cornbread. So join us as we dish about the dish. So chili is one of those great meals that you can have anytime. It's warm, it's homey, and you can adjust it to your taste. That's why there are a bajillion chili recipes out there. This one just happens to be mine. So feel free to add or omit anything that you want to make it your own. So we're going to really quickly go over our ingredients because of course we have our mise en place as always. So in this recipe you have 2 pounds of ground meat. I have this time around ground Italian sausage and ground beef. You can do ground turkey, all beef, all pork, whichever you wish. My canned tomatoes, green bell peppers, 1 jalapeno pepper, medium-sized onion chopped up, garlic, measure this to whatever your heart's content, tomato paste, kidney beans, and I know kidney beans are controversial. I like kidney beans in my chili. And then we have our spices, which is our ground chili pepper, chili powder, cumin, and cayenne pepper. Measure this to your own taste. And then of course my secret ingredient is whiskey. So let's cook. So we're going to add our ground meats to our really hot Dutch oven. You don't have to use a Dutch oven. You could also use just whatever big pot you have that you can put a lid on and let it simmer for a while. And we're going to season as we go with our salt and pepper. Now if you're wondering why I call this the Crescent Moon Chili, well that is where the story comes in. When I was writing To Have Faith, my main character Ben was home watching the ranch while everyone was out on vacation, and when they were coming home, he knew they were going to have a long day of travel. So he wanted to have something hearty for them, knowing that they were going to be tired and hungry. And this was what he made, the Crescent Moon Chili. And this is where you get backstory, where when he was younger, he didn't have the best of childhoods. And he spent a lot of time on his own, and because he always looked older for his age, he worked as a bouncer at the Crescent Moon Bar, which makes several appearances in the Sprawling A Ranch series. And he would always volunteer to help prep in the kitchen, and that way he knew for sure he would have at least 1 meal a day. And so this is what he would help prep, was the Crescent Moon Chili. And that's how you weave backstory into your novels. When your ground beef is cooked through, go ahead and take it out of your pot to let it drain so we have time to cook our vegetables. Okay. Also, if you notice you have way too much fat, you can drain a little bit of that fat out as well. Not into your sink though. We never drain fat into our sink. So now we're going to add our chopped vegetables. And of course we season along the way. And we'll get those nice and wilty. So when our vegetables are nice and wilty, I'm actually going to kind of make a little hole. I'm going to make a little hole in the center of my vegetables, and I'm going to squeeze in my 2 tablespoons or so of tomato paste so I can get that cooking a smidge. Sure, that's 2 tablespoons. This just helps that thicken up our chili. And then when that gets nice and cooked, I'm going to deglaze my pan with my whiskey. And whiskey, again, you measure like garlic with your heart. Oh, that's good. So maybe a quarter cup, half cup. Make sure we get that alcohol nice and burnt up. We just want that lovely barley flavor to be left over. And I'm going to go ahead and add my spices now while I'm at it. And taste as we go. Oh, that's spicy. There's plenty of spice for me. Once I add the tomatoes and let it simmer in the meat, it'll help tone it down some. That's spicy. And as always, the ingredients will be listed in the description below, and we will have the tutorial on the website dishaboutthedish.com as well. Okay, now that my vegetables are kind of nice, the whiskey has been cooked down some, we're going to add the ground beef and pork back into our pot. Yeah, look at that fat we soaked up there. Yeah, we're going to mix this all up really well, and now we're going to add our tomatoes. If your chili's looking a little on the thick side, a little on the dry side, add water or beef stock to your mix to get it a little bit more saucy and soupy, because this is going to simmer for a really long time. Well, a long time, a couple hours. So we're going to let this simmer for a couple of hours with our lid on low, let those flavors meld together. I will add the kidney beans later because I don't want them to, I want them to keep their texture and I don't want them to fall apart. So while this is simmering, we're going to get our cornbread ingredients together. So while we are on a baking break, I just wanted to take a second to answer a question I get often about about to have faith, which is why in the middle of my small town contemporary romance series would I throw in a book that had a triad relationship. And the answer was, it wasn't planned that way. Authors, how we put books together is we play the what if game. So what if I had a 6+ foot tall cowboy who was in his late 30s, early 40s, brooding, intense, respectful, and he was good with a rope? Well, in my head, he has to be kinky, because if he wasn't, I would be severely disappointed. So if I have Ben, okay, then what if he found a woman in this small town who shared his same desires or passions? Yay! And then what if, oh, he has a roommate. And what if that roommate came home early? And that's how you get your story generated. But even then, I didn't intend to have them be a permanent threesome. It was just supposed to be some fun, hot scenes, and then on with the rest of the book. Colby would then go get his own story. But the more I had them together, I couldn't separate them. All their parts, everything that was them meshed so well, I couldn't bear to take them apart. And when you have relationships, especially love relationships, I think there's a good way for me to show that love is love. As long as you have the four corners of a good relationship, have at it. You know, in my opinion, that is, you know, open communication, consent, compassion, and respect. If you have those four things, you are golden. They should be honored and they should be cherished and not be taken lightly, because as we've seen in this world, relationships built on just those four basic principles are so horribly rare. They shouldn't be rare, but they are. And so if you have open communication, consent, respect, compassion, have your relationship, whether there's one or two or four of you, if you're blue, same sex, doesn't matter. As Mr. Miranda has once said, famously, love is love is love is love. And I was just hoping to show that no matter how you put your relationship together, if you have those four things, it doesn't matter who it's with. Just the way you feel about those people and how the agreement you have between you or y'all is the only thing that matters. And I did base a teeny scene based on my great uncle getting called out in church. Yeah, but that's a story for another time. Back to baking. So within a good chili, you have to have a bread, something to go with it. And usually 99.9% of the time that is cornbread. So make your own favorite cornbread, even if it comes from a mix. I am actually using the recipe from my Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, and you can see it's seen better days. This book's been around the block, mostly for pancakes and waffles, which is why I don't know why it's probably why the whole bread section is torn apart. So we have in this recipe cornmeal, our flour, our salt, sugar, and baking powder, a couple of eggs, some milk, and then we'll add some corn oil in there, or vegetable oil in there momentarily. So we're gonna make some space. So first thing I'm going to do is mix up my egg and liquid mixture. So we got our wet mixture all together. And as always, recipe ingredients will be listed in the description as well as the website. I need a 1/4 cup of oil. Or as my grandmother used to say it, oleo. I don't know why. She just did. But even in some of her recipe books, it says oleo, O-L-I-O. For all I know, that's probably its own special ingredient that nobody makes anymore. Excellent. So we've got our wet mixture set aside. We're going to sift together our dry ingredients. Remember to measure them and aerate them. Keep out any foreign particles. Cornmeal's a little hard to do so because it's a bigger item. Now the recipe does call for 2 to 4 teaspoons of sugar. I don't know what the difference is, so I went for 3. Let's get it down the center. Now we're going to incorporate our dry into our wet. And again, this is called a quick bread because it's really quick to put together. Now, if you like a little extra sweetness in your cornbread, or a little bit of extra chew, you can always add a can of corn to this, or a half a can of corn. I've seen it both ways. I like it both ways. But I don't eat a whole lot of corn, so I don't have it on hand. And we want it just together. We don't want to overmix, as always. We don't want a dense, hard bread. So I have my prepared already 9.5-inch baking square pan ready to go. That I sprayed down a little bit so it doesn't stick to the sides. And there is our cornbread mix ready to go. And it's going to go in our 425-degree ovens until it's done. I'll check on it at about 20, but again, bake until ready. So our cornbread is all ready. Our chili has been simmering. We have garnished it, I was gonna say decorate, garnished it with some sour cream and some cheddar cheese. We're gonna slice a bit of the cornbread out and hopefully it doesn't burn my flesh. Excellent. And then we do have slab of butter, and if you want to, a little drizzle of honey, because that sweetness helps counteract the spiciness of the chili. And here we have our nice wintry warm crescent moon bar chili and cornbread. So I do hope you enjoyed cooking with us today. Please hit subscribe and the like button because it really does help out the channel, and we'll see you again next time, y'all.